Not to get off track from the interview or anything, but I remember the first time my dad actually ever met you, and I mean, he had met Travis,
Mm-hmm.
your brother, my boyfriend, and he had met your parents, but he had never actually been introduced to the rest of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Travis's, I think, 19th birthday party, and he met you,
Mm-hmm.
and this was before you were with Gabe, but he met you, and my dad has always been that person. Well, he can spot any type of stereotype, whether it's gay, somebody who's, somebody who's gonna rob somebody, a wife beater. He thinks he knows it all, right? And
He's a
my
freelance
mom,
profiler, if you will.
yeah, and he doesn't care. It doesn't
Yeah.
affect his life, but he thinks he can recognize whatever. And I remember my mom telling me later that on the way back to the car, my mom was like, "Hey, so what did you think? They're really nice, aren't they?" And I had told my mom beforehand that you were gay because Travis had said to me, "Rose, there's something I have to tell you. It's really important, and I just have to get it off my chest."
Mm-hmm.
And this was before I had met you or anything, and it was probably about 3-4 months into our relationship, and I thought he had some terminal disease. I thought he was going to die, and I was like, "What's going on? Just tell me." And he said, "My brother's gay." And I said, "That's it?"
Yeah.
And so I had told my mom about that experience, and of course she thought, of course, the same thing. Why would he say it like it was some big deal? But, like, we purposefully kept it from my dad because he always thinks that he knows it all. And she said, while they were walking to the car, "Did you recognize anything about Donny?" And my dad sort of was like, "No, he's a great kid. I'm glad he's back in school and, doing what's right for him. He seems like a good brother to Travis." And my mom said, "You didn't know he was gay, did you?" And my dad sort of just looked at her and his jaw dropped and he said, "No, he isn't." And my mom said, "Yeah, he is." And my dad was, from that day on, he said, that just changed his mind completely about, different stereotypes. I think you were the first gay person my dad has ever known.
Really?
Really, I do believe that. Known, at least, that was open. And, I feel like that changed his perspective. I feel like just meeting you in and of itself had changed him from thinking he knew it all to being a little more, careful, a little more questioning of himself. Maybe he's not as sure about, what he believes about other people. And I think that in and of itself is a great effect, that just getting to know somebody who is different, not just gay, but anybody who comes from a different religion, background, culture, whatever. I feel like that has changed me as a person, and I feel like just that one experience with my dad changed it.
Yeah. It is interesting because, from a different angle, a lot of Americans, have taken, I guess, surveys and polls about how they feel about Muslim people, and it's the first thing that pops in their mind is, they're a terrorist. But, that's the 10%, the extremist part. And I think that, I say that because that's, looking at, other things in life, and we always jump to the sensationalized part of things, and that's the one thing, being gay is, this is what it is, and this is, everything about it that I've heard and know, that's what I'm going to feel about you when I meet you. And I always find that funny that, like with your dad, after meeting me, maybe he did change the way he felt about gay people. And that's kind of the thing that, if you think about it in a broad scope, a lot of people that do that, that are friends with someone that's gay and that actually, are friends with them over time, they are more prone to, I guess, understand and, stand up and, vote differently, and things happen with that because you realize that these are people that you're friends with, that you live your life with, that are there for you. Not in all cases, I'm just saying, if you're friends in general. And so...
Like, you just get to know them as people, not as that gay person.
Yeah, exactly. And you realize that, they do have rights, and, we do have rights. And so that, I think that kind of changes, and I think that says something for actually being friends with someone that, is not, just like yourself. I mean, what fun is that? I mean, it's fun to mix it up a little bit, and, So I mean, yeah, that's where I was going with that. It's I think you're less prone to discriminate if you're actually, friends of what you might, or I don't know, like, I guess it's just, the way I think about it. If I was going to be discriminating someone and I ended up being friends with them, I would probably think differently. So I would think that would help. And with your dad, I think that might have made a difference for him. I don't know.
It
Hopefully.
also, I remember at Travis's 20th birthday party just a few months ago, you met my aunt and uncle. On my dad's side of the family. Actually, his best friend. He's kind of like my surrogate uncle. But anyway, after they left, of course my aunt knew because I tell my aunt everything too. And my uncle, actually, his sister is gay. And so he does, like, of course he thinks he knows it all too because, he has a gay sister, whatever. But he had no idea that you were gay because your partner was there too. And he had no idea that either of you were gay and you were sitting right next to each other. You weren't being, too standoffish. You were just being yourselves like any couple would be in front of other people. And he had no clue either. So it's just, it's so weird to me because, like, I see these two people that I've grown up with my entire life and they're just like, those know-it-all men that like, oh, I could spot so-and-so from a mile away. I could tell a wife beater when I met him. And it's just so funny to see that they can't. And that getting to know you, they just sat there and talked to you guys the whole time at dinner, and they were like, wow, those two guys, they were so interesting. Loved you guys as people. Loved the conversation they had with you. They thought it was great. And then they found out, and they were just like, that's crazy. I never would have thought. And it's just so interesting to see human behavior like that.
Yeah,
like,
and connections can be made without assumptions made beforehand, and that's important. That's why, meeting new people, I mean, that's one of the things, try to leave out politics and religion and, sexuality, because, I mean, that's where people are personal about, and it should be personal, and that's the thing, is it should be personal in all aspects, in politics and, in voting. Those kinds of things should be left, to your own home and to your own, families and groups and your realities at home. And so yeah, I think that is interesting to see the interactions with people like that, and and I face that all the time. I face that in classrooms. I face that in school, and I'll have people that add me on Facebook, and they'll be like, I had no idea, that you were gay, and I'm like, well, I don't.
Why does it matter?
I don't talk about it all the time, and I don't need to, because I mean, there's other things to talk about besides what I'm doing personally with myself and other people. So.
To conclude the interview, though, if you could tell someone that opposes gay marriage one thing, what would it be and why?
Stop. Stop it already. It's enough. Shame on you.